Thank you all for joining us once again. We're back to On the Subject. I am your host, Michael Villardo. We are so excited to have this guest today. This is Tory Patterson, chairman of Subject Board, full disclosure, but also the co-founder, managing partner of Owl Ventures, the #1 EdTech investment firm in the entire world. More assets under management are under Owl, dedicated to education specifically, than any other venture capital firm in the world. We're so lucky to have Tory here today. Thank you for joining the podcast.
Oh, thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
So one thing that I love about you is you're so talented. You're able to accomplish so much in your career, but you dedicated all to education. You know, coming out of Stanford GSB, a lot of your classmates join other venture firms, consulting, entrepreneurship. Why did you want to focus on education?
Yeah, well, really twofold, and thanks for the question, and thanks for the kind compliments. Well, let's start one, just values aligned. Like for me, for my family, for just about everybody I know, education has been the ladder that enabled them to achieve life goals, whether that's socioeconomic adjustment, whether that's accomplishing something incredible in the world, be it business, et cetera. Education is the pathway, and we have deep inequity in education globally. That's present in the United States, that's present in California, that's present in every town in the state. So if you want to do something big in the world, of all the problems one could dedicate their talent and life to, addressing the inequity in terms of access to elite education, I think is the primary global challenge. I mean, I think we can map, all of the things we are wrestling with as a society, as human beings, back to this core problem of not equal. I'll just say it simply: inequity in education.
I love your passion. It's so infectious, and that's why I love getting to work with you and learn so much from you. What's with the name Owl? How did you come with Owl Ventures?
Oh, man, I wish I had a great answer for this. No, I mean, it's just a subtle nod to wisdom, right? And
I love that.
It's as simple as that. I mean, the stresses associated with starting a firm, trying to create something new in this world are not small. The name was like this, the 99th problem on the list, and it came together very quickly as we had to declare who we were. So
I love the passion. No, I'm just so fascinated. And so when we think about EdTech focused firms, there's a handful out there, but few have been able to raise as many funds as you have. It's so exceptional. You're on your 5th fund now, correct?
Yeah, well, we've raised 7 funds. Yeah.
Oh, incredible. I apologize for shortchanging you.
No
Never
worries,
want to be able to hit the measure mark there. So you have seen EdTech explode. How were you able to see that before anyone else? When you started in EdTech was not as attractive of an investment opportunity. What did you see before everybody else?
Yeah, it was a nascent category, and big nod to all of our peers who are investing behind some of the same themes that we are. I'd say that when I started the firm, we took a very, very deliberate approach to building a firm. I'll say, quote, the right way, meaning we were very aggressive about recruiting elite talent to execute on this investment mission. We also wanted to capitalize the firm to be able to support companies at all stages and through their life cycles. So we're very active at the seed stage, we're very active at the Series A and B stage, and we've also made a couple dozen late stage investments. So the lack of capital in the category is at all stages, and we set out to build a firm that would address that broadly and globally. And then lastly, I'd say a lot of the late stage investment is informed by our early stage work. So we feel like we're able to make differentiated bets and investments in later stage businesses as a byproduct of our knowledge of what's available in the market. And subsequently, we'd like to think a pretty fluent lens on what's happening out there, what's working, and where the opportunities are.
So I love how mission-driven you are, and you're all about people, but let's make this about yourself for a second. You've had an incredible journey. You played basketball at Williams. You went to Stanford GSB. It's the most selective business school in the world, less than 6% acceptance rate today. How did you get that done? How do you get into these schools? And what would you advise a young person, whether they're on subject or not, how do you achieve your dreams and go to the school that you want to go to, whether that's Stanford or a local community college? Like, how do you achieve your dreams of getting into the right colleges?
Yeah, well, it's twofold. And listen, I've been very blessed to go to Williams. I'm very blessed to go to Stanford Business School. I had a lot of advantages growing up. I had access to elite education as a young person. But I took those gifts pretty seriously. And what I would say to anybody, regardless of where you're starting off in life or where you find yourself, like take your academic career very seriously. It matters. It just does. We're in a world where the signaling power of academic accomplishments opens a lot of doors. The sooner you acknowledge that and understand that, the more focus you can put on all of that hard work associated with being a dedicated student. Second thing I would say, and again, this is a cliche, you've heard it a million times, but boy, is it true, find a passion and lean into it. Williams and Stanford are great places, and the same would apply to any elite school. There is an abundance of students who have done well in school. There is a dearth of young people who have a true passion and a vision for what they want to do with their life. So if you're working in admissions in any of these institutions, you are looking for someone who has a clear vision on what they're trying to achieve in the world, and you want to map back your institution's capability of helping that person accomplish that long-term goal. If you don't know what you're trying to do in the world, boy, it's pretty hard for that admissions executive or individual to say, oh, we're going to give up one of these coveted spots to this great student. There's a lot of great students out there. I think, the one thing I'd push any young person to be is find a passion as early as you can, be authentic, be true to that, and then get clear on how that passion is going to translate into making the world a better place, and start telling that story broadly, and I think good things will flow.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you hit such a nail there with the signaling and taking your academic career seriously. So many young people, sports, acting, music become their passion. I know that was me growing up. And I think it's great to have other passions, but understanding that your education will last you for your lifetime. It's not a 4-year decision, it's a 40-year decision. And so many folks get caught up in the peer pressures of being a teenager. It's a hard life to be a teenager with social media, all the advents out there. To be a teenager to today, it's very easy to lose sight of how important school is. But you run an incredible firm, Owl Ventures. You recruit incredible talent, many of which have come from incredible schools like Stanford, Harvard, Dartmouth, etc. Can you please speak into the camera and let these students know, try your best in high school. It will last your lifetime. The best you can do in high school, wherever that ceiling may be, it will open up doors for you. And the passion around education, it will last the rest of your life. And we totally understand sometimes it isn't in the deck of cards to say, hey, school's my top priority. Rethink that and refocus your priorities. And what do you do with your kids? This isn't a parenting podcast, but I do want, how do you inspire your kids to care so much about education?
So, little anecdote, I have a 6th, 5th, 4th, and 2nd grader. So I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. They're all at various stages of their commitment to their academic journey. But what I really try to do with them is really focus on that second part. I think if you have some sense for who you are in the world and what role you aspire to play, that maps back to finding sort of the motivation to work hard in everything you're doing, especially if it's on that journey. So what I would say is, with my kids, I go easy on them. A lot of us, perhaps myself included, grew up in environments where we had a lot of oversight and a lot of, let's just use a friendly word, encouragement to focus on these things. I'm trying to take sort of perhaps a more progressive approach and really try to, ignite some sort of, innate or authentic fire in them. It is possible to take a young person and just force them or push them into excellence. I believe that's true. But boy, as soon as you're through that academic journey or whatever task that's being kind of imposed upon you, I think the fall off is pretty dramatic. So, the dream for a parent, the dream for any individual progressing through this world is to find that inner fire. So like when I'll map this back to EdTech, but thank you for starting with my kids. I think the big objective for educators is to not push information or learning into students, but to have students pull it out of those educators, right? And so, boy, if I can find a dynamic with my own kids, or if I'm a teacher working with a large group of students where they are pulling as opposed to me pushing, we're in a great space.
Oh, I completely agree, and I love that. And we know your time is so precious here, so we have just 2 questions to finish the time off with.
Please, yeah.
We have the chairman of Subject here. Why Subject? What do you believe in Subject can help provide better equity for schools? How can Subject be a part of that journey, for students tomorrow and 10 years from now?
Well, two things, and I'll hit them in sequence. One is scalable excellence, and technology and the platform you all have developed is the best I've seen in terms of finding excellent teachers and scaling it very broadly, very quickly. We all are beneficiaries of fabulous teachers that have intersected with us over the course of our journeys. Boy, not everyone is so blessed, and if you can find the best teachers in the world and give them like the world's best curriculum, the best modality to meet students, I mean, find me something that can have a bigger impact on the planet, right? Yeah. So that's why subject. The second thing I would say is we're in a student engagement crisis globally, and that's present in schools across the United States and certainly all around the world. The modality with which we've been trying to reach students and inspire students, it is failing. Let's be blunt. That's a hard thing for me to say out loud, but it's the reality. And that's a byproduct of the students in school today have had a fundamentally different exposure to technology, to content. The relationship with content is different than certainly my parents had, certainly different than I had. And so we're wrestling with shorter attention spans, let's just say it explicitly. We're wrestling with just a lack of engagement in the classroom that is not going to be solved with more effort, more money, more time. We fundamentally need to reach these students where they're at, and we need to reach them with modalities that are inspiring deeper engagement, deeper passion, and subsequently deeper learning. Where are students spending time?
Yes.
They're spending time engaging with social media. They're spending time engaging with Hollywood entertainment, and that is working. I'll say like students who have trouble sitting still in classroom have disciplinary issues. Like that used to be an outlier. Yeah. Now it's the vast majority of the class, right? And these students that are having trouble focusing in class, they go home and they'll play video games or watch TV for 72 hours straight without going to the bathroom, right? Like it's not a biology problem. These humans can concentrate, but it's an engagement problem, and we need to find ways to deliver academic content in much more engaging ways to this generation. That's on us, and Subject is doing that in a way that's unparalleled in the market. And so I think we have a big opportunity in front of us, and it's an absolute honor to help support that initiative.
We love getting to work with you, and to your point, Netflix turns 27 years old this year. These kids have grown up with Instagram, YouTube, now they have TikTok. They demand a different way to engage with digital product and their brick and mortar system, and we can help support, amplify, and empower the best instructors possible. And so that's the way I would love to leave it is, there's nothing more powerful than a great teacher or coach. If you want to speak to the crowd today, who's one teacher or coach that really changed your life, and what did they do that was so special for your journey?
Thanks for the question. For me, it's a very easy answer. I found a passion in myself for writing as a ninth grade student. I had a writing teacher in ninth grade that really drew that out of me. I didn't know I had it in me. It has served me my entire life. That's so important for me in my role to be able to express an idea, compel others to believe in that idea and follow me on that journey. That's been the key to my own personal success, my ability to inspire great teammates to work with me, my ability to inspire investors to go on this journey with me, my ability to inspire great entrepreneurs to want to work with me. So my ability to, I don't think anyone has the inability to generate great ideas, but I think a lot of us don't necessarily have the training or the skill to put that onto paper and to use that in a persuasive way to drive the change they want to see in the world. And so for me, it all maps back to unlocking that skill set, and I know exactly the individual that did that. It happened for me in ninth grade.
That's amazing. Well, we're excited because those of you listening in, if you could just take one piece of feedback from Tory, his wisdom, how many educational opportunities he's been a part of through EdTech founders, working with school districts, he understands the power of education, and that's why we're all here today. We're bonded by a passion for education and helping hundreds of thousands, if not millions of students directly, and that's why we're on the subject. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to host you, Tory, and looking forward to having you on another episode soon. Thank you so much for your support of the company.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.